Fresh off the most impressive performance of Joel Embiid's international career, his trolling has hit another level. In addition to playing a key part in Team USA's victory over Serbia on the court, he is letting everyone know about it, and everyone is letting Joel know about their feelings as well. I want to dive into the latest at what was said both in Joel's direction and what he is saying to kind of get people talking once again. And to lead things off, I just want to acknowledge right away that we have literally the president of Serbia tweeting out about Joel Embiid, complaining to the officials. Now, this has been a bit of a common occurrence. Saw Bogdanovich making his comments as well, but we do have the president tweeting out, in which country are these not steps? P.S. Tell us in advance who we can't be. Now, for what it's worth, this was the play during the game in which the Serbia coach got a technical foul. I do think it's very funny because they just straight up can't see Joel Embiid's dribble during that specific play. That he dribbled right on the left side of him, and they were looking over to the right. So I think they just really did not see it. It is an NBA non-travel. Like, sure, you can get technical. I don't know if in Serbia they're letter of the law with their two steps and how you kind of call things over there. But it was not an NBA travel, and the referees made the right call there. And it was funny to see kind of the hissy fit that was thrown, especially when we're talking at the presidential level. Like, let's take a step back and just think for a second of how funny it is that the president of Serbia is tweeting at the referees about Joel Embiid. Incredibly hilarious to me. Now, I know I talked plenty already about Joel Embiid's role in the victory over Serbia. That we saw his stats, once again, the best game of his career, touching 19 points, 4 rebounds, 1 block, 2 assists. He had 7 points in that fourth quarter there, was such a key part. So I'm not going to harp on that too heavily, but I absolutely could if I would. You know, if I wanted to keep talking about it, I could tell you guys all about how when Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid were on the floor, that Joel Embiid had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Shot 8 of 11 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 1 of 1 at the line. While Nikola Jokic, while Joel Embiid was on the floor, just 6 points, 1 rebound, and 8 assists. Shot just 3 of 9 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and Team USA straight up outscored Serbia 75-59. But that's not what I want to get into. You know, we know the Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic storyline. We know how good Joel Embiid was yesterday. I do want to acknowledge the trolling a little bit more. So Joel made waves a little bit more recently, and he had a couple quotes that I did want to bring up here. Some of these I think a little bit in jest, some of these a little bit serious here. And I'll start with the one that I think is completely in jest and something that I think people are going to run with quite well. And he was asked a little bit about playing for Cameroon in the next Olympics. And the full quote from Joel Embiid, he was initially just asked about Team USA, which I do think he's leaning into this quite strongly. And he says, quote, "It's been a good experience. It's been a grind being away from home and family for a few weeks, but the group of guys that have made it easy. Paris is a great city, and the next one is LA. It might not be with Team USA. It might be with Cameroon." So there's been all this heat about Joel Embiid for what his decision would be. And I won't lie. Like, I would have fully supported it and respected if he did elect to represent Cameroon. But Cameroon's also sitting at home right now. So it's not like he's, passed up on things. The goal was Joel Embiid wanted to play in the Olympics. And that would not have occurred if he was playing for Cameroon. Sure, you can argue he can take place in kind of the prelims and making sure the team qualifies if you want to go that route. And maybe that would have changed things. I'm sure it would to an extent, as obviously Joel Embiid stepping on that floor make a significant difference for Cameroon as a country. But the bottom line is he did want to make sure he participated, and this is much more than him riding the coattails of the superstars. That Joel Embiid is that dude, and he proved himself crucial down the stretch in that victory over Serbia there. Now, to fully acknowledge it, letter of the law, it could be possible for him to do this if this is something that he desires. It cannot occur within 3 years of an Olympics when an athlete elects to change nationalities for who they will represent. The bottom line meaning Joel Embiid would have to get to work and make this decision pretty quickly. And if that was the case, I wouldn't be that mad about it, assuming that he takes care of business, takes down France and gets gold, and then wants to represent his home country. I would respect that. But I would just put into perspective one more time that I do think Joel Embiid is quite literally the American dream encapsulated. This was a dude that took a chance on himself, moved away from his home country, made himself millions of dollars, started a new family, created a new life, and accomplished everything that he has set out to do. That to me is really cool, and I think it's cool that he gets to represent the USA for those specific reasons here. Whatever Joel wants to do, I will completely acknowledge, and I don't think he owes anyone in that decision, anything in that decision. But the bottom line is I want him to keep rocking with Team USA, and to be perfectly honest, I would prefer if this was just straight up his one and done Olympics, that he just wanted to check this off the bucket list, and we're fully locked in on these Sixers moving forward. Now, speaking of people that believe that Joel Embiid owes them something, let's bring in the French people here. So there's been so much heat between the France government and Team USA. And look, I do understand the root of the argument, or the root of the frustrations from France. It basically is that Joel Embiid's an unbelievable basketball player, and they're frustrated that he's not representing him. Now, you can throw your critiques that he was a guy who the country bent the laws a little bit and made him a citizen in a way that they don't typically do. That there's some countries that are pretty open and I guess, hand those out pretty quickly without a problem. France generally is not one of those nations, and they did bend the rules to make Joel Embiid possible to represent them under the stipulation that they believed that he was coming. And you can pull up some old letters where he did seem to indicate that that was his intention, but people changed their mind, and there are the ties between Cameroon and France. Joel Embiid himself went back and talked about how the relationship between France and the countries of Africa is something that turned him off of the idea, and did he want to represent USA, where his son was born, where his wife lives, where he has started his family and created this new life for himself. And I don't really think you can dispute that, but it's quite clear that throughout these Olympics that the French people are not taking that kindly. He is a guy that every time he touches the ball does hear the boos, that he's egging it on himself, and for, I wouldn't say the first time, because we've certainly seen this from Joel Embiid in the past, but I would say the most in his career, that he's very clearly embraced the villain arc. And he was asked a little bit about what he expects heading into that gold medal match, which of course is against France, with the French people in attendance in Paris. The storylines could not be written any better. But he was asked about this specifically, and he said, quote, "Team USA against France, they're going to boo me, and I'm going to go back at them and tell them to suck it." So that's the version of Joel Embiid that we're going to see tomorrow. That I do think he's going to be fully in his element. He's going to be cheering, calling for the boos, embracing it. He's going to be DX chopping to the crowd. He's broken that out more often than I've ever seen from him, that he finally got over to the free land, out of the restrictions of the NBA where the fines have come heavy for those type of reactions from Joel at this point, and he's taken advantage of every single one of them there. Now, as far as the matchup with France, I do think it's going to be more difficult for Team USA than people want to acknowledge. That I think people are underselling what an environment it is going to be with the French people there, and Victor Wembanyama certainly is no joke. But what happened the last time that Joel Embiid played against Victor Wembanyama? Well, if you need a reminder for what specifically that was, that he scored 17 points with 18 rebounds and 5 assists there. Video game numbers. And by the way, the other option, Rudy Gobert, the last time that these two squared off, Joel had 51 points and 12 rebounds in that game there. And Rudy has kind of played himself out of the France lineup as a whole. This isn't even going to be like a Joel versus Rudy thing, I don't think. It's interesting what France is doing. They're kind of playing like a zone-type defense with Wemby as the free safety and rim protector there. We'll see how they ultimately match up against this Team USA team. And a quick shout out to Nico Batum, who I still have nothing but love for, and disappointed he's not coming back to these Sixers. But France is a squad there, and I do think that the environment's going to be unlike anything that we've seen so far in these Olympics, with the gold on the line, with the hatred to Joel Embiid. And I guarantee that our guy Joel is going to be front and center for all of it. That I do think we're going to see the most fired up that we've seen from him. It was cool to see the raw emotion versus Serbia, that he was chanting, he was throwing his fists around after getting stops on Nikola Jokic. I think that's only going to be maximized with everything on the line, and with this really being the reason that Joel Embiid decided to suit up for Team USA in the first place. That he said, I would rather this opportunity to win gold for Team USA rather than represent Team France and see where that takes me. Shout out to Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the guys over there, Evan Fournier and co, for carrying this team the way that they have. But the bottom line is there are levels to this, and Team USA is about to push them to the absolute max. So I cannot wait for the gold medal match. I've officially been fired up for Olympic basketball, and it's very cool to see Joel Embiid at the heart of it. To me, it just means something to hear guys like LeBron James point out that Joel carried us today, or see him when push comes to shove, when the lineups get shrunk, that Joel Embiid is very much one of the core pillars of this Team USA team. So we'll see how it shakes out with everything on the line, but I do know that Joel Embiid will be every part of the heart of it. I think he's going to be in his element with the crowd egging him on, him egging it right back, him letting his DX chops like fly all over the place. Let's buckle up and see what happens from there. The trolling of Joel Embiid, I think, has only taken to another level. Shout out to Kevin Durant for also kind of joining him in that endeavor with his recent Twitter fingers. But the bottom line is this Team USA is about to set out to do what they accomplished, that they have one game away from winning that gold medal. It is the unfortunate standard that you got to win it all or it feels like a failure, but that's the reality of the situation. That pressure makes diamonds, and that's what these guys are built on. That we know the expectations, and they have a chance to accomplish all those things by just taking care of business tomorrow. So we'll see how things shake out, but I can't wait to see Joel Embiid on that stage, in that setting, and to see this Team USA team continue to dominate. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you with me, and have you been bit by this Olympic bug to watch basketball in the way that I am? Are you fired up about this, or are you just not as into it? Because I am a guy who, I think I was a little skeptical or not all the way in when the Olympics started. At this point, I'm all in watching Joel Embiid represent Team USA, and for everyone having the success that they're having. Appreciate each and one of you guys tuning into this video here. Once again, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button and dropping a like below. And I'll be talking with you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.